And this is Debbie Russell from Boca Raton, Florida. I do appreciate your interest in the subject of social media marketing. I hope that you're going to be able to pick up some useful tips and pointers. You know, this trend is really just beginning in our industry. Other professionals, realtors in particular, are heavily into personal branding to set themselves apart from their competition. Personally, I've got over 30 years experience in the property casualty industry, mostly working for carriers, both in underwriting and most of my career in marketing. However, I have also spent a little time working for an agency, and I've worked with both retail agents and wholesalers. So I think I bring a good perspective to this subject. One of the things that's always fascinated me is that y'all sell insurance, but y'all do it very differently. I think my agents would tell you that I've always been a very creative thinker and found ways to get things done. My responsibilities have always focused on new business opportunities. Now with social media, I'm seeing better opportunities for those that get it and put it to good use. So this is a good opportunity for me to share with you what I've learned and how it might work for you. So let's get started. We're going to discuss prospecting and retaining clients with social media. So this is going to be pretty much our agenda and hopefully what you come away with out of this program today. Why you would use social media and why you would care about it, and why would your online reputation be important? What benefits would there be to using it, and does it really work? Everybody seems to be jumping on this social media bandwagon, and what is this personal branding and blogging, and how can I do it? So what I think would be interesting is let's look at some social media statistics and facts, because really 50% of the world's population now is under 30 years old. It's really hard to believe. And most of them have joined a social network. And when I say social network, I'm talking about Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and YouTube. Out of those people on the internet, 77% of those users have read blogs. 45% of those people have actually started a blog. And a blog, let me explain to you, is nothing more than a website, but it's typically a website that you've got control of, the content. You don't need to have a website guy that uses HTML code. It's a very user-friendly process, but it looks just like a website to you. And the interesting thing to me is that people now buy based upon recommendations. And you probably can think of your own experience where you buy something online. I know my husband and I, when we buy a television, what we typically do is we go online to Consumer Reports, we figure out, what they have recommended, and then we read what other people have recommended about different products that they've tried. So, you can sort of relate this to the insurance business, not so much in your large accounts, but think about it possibly with personal auto. I know Geico is out there a lot, and some of the direct writers are using this quite effectively. It's really not a fad right now. I think it's a fundamental shift in the way we communicate. And now, if we look at ourselves as entrepreneurs, professionals, and executives, the interesting thing that I find out is 62% that actually participate in some sort of social media marketing, they've actually closed some new business deals and found new partnerships. And 77% of this group are new participants. So if you feel that you've not, taken this whole social media thing and grasped it and started it, don't feel that you're alone. People are joining in every day, and so can you. So I've seen this slide before in several different presentations. Somebody had done a study, and these are some statistics about how this has actually worked for businesses and consultants and professionals, that they are actually getting some targeted leads based upon their social media marketing. So this is an example of it's working. And I will tell you that the old way of selling is really dead. I was brought up in part of this myself. I was sent to the Xerox Sales School. I had great training on features and benefits, persuading people, and that's how we sold policies and coverages and that sort of thing. But I will say the new style with social media and the younger people is more about demonstrating and engaging. And the reason is that they're researching online for information. They want to go online, find it themselves, make some sort of an evaluation. Now, what they do need is they need somebody to guide them at the end of the process. They may come up with several different solutions, but they may not know that it's for them. And so that is a new shift in the way that you might want to think about your selling process, because they don't want to be sold. And these are some important facts I think about for you as producers, in that there are more agents. At least we're not a dying breed. It is growing, but the effect of the economy has impacted your ability to write new business and also the size of the premium. So many accounts have closed, and I know in my area, I'm in South Florida, so many of my producers really married themselves to the construction business, and that really has taken a toll on their fleets, their payrolls for comp, and many, many of these have gone out of business. So now you've got more agents out there competing for the same quality of accounts. And you've got to be savvier, you've got to market yourself, and you've got to somehow stand out from your competitors. So you have to think, well, how am I going to do that? Well, people are searching for information on the internet. We know that. But just having your agency website is not enough, and let me explain why. Your agency website, nobody's ever going to find it. They're only going to find it when they type in the name of your agency, www.agency.com. When they get there, what do they see? They see, well, it's a nice business, they write commercial, they write personal lines, they talk about service, but what do they say about you? You know, you're lucky sometimes if you can get your email address and a contact piece on there. It's not saying anything about the qualifications that you bring to the table. And we know that people buy from people they like, trust, and respect. People that are going to succeed in the future have to be good at marketing and good at communication. So if you really want to increase your business, you need to step up your marketing efforts. And if you're seen as a resource for people, and you're seen as the solution to the problem, you're more apt to get that sale or the appointment. It all comes down to, I feel, creating a personal brand for yourself. You know, you're your own salesperson. You are your own, you bring something unique to the table. How many times when you're doing business with somebody or you meet somebody, do you Google their name? I mean, my husband has a client that this woman is in her 70s. She tells me she Googles everybody. So what happens when your name is Googled? Have you ever done that? Well, I know that when my name is Googled, my name is very common, Debbie Russell, and you can try it afterwards. I come up in the top 5 of Google. And that is because I felt it very necessary that I stand out from the crowd. You want to create the impression and the substance that you're an expert in your chosen profession, which is insurance. And it really is the answer to the question, why should somebody pick up the phone when you're calling? And if you're not showing up in a search for your name, you're turning business away. More and more people are buying their names on the internet, I guarantee you. And sometimes, like me, mine was already taken. So why is this branding of yourself really important? Well, I think one of the key factors here is that it creates credibility and trust. If you are a new producer in this business, if you're young, the one thing you lack is credibility. Having a blog, a website, creating your brand where you've got information there that shows you are an expert, you're at the top of your game, even though you're young, can build that credibility factor. It's also the first impression of who you are. And it's really funny because I know when I would ask people at networking events who their agent is, I kind of, from a marketing carrier perspective, I was actually thinking of the agency, but about 99% they're going to say your name. So what you want is when they think of insurance, they will think of you. Another couple comments here I'd like to make on why social media and all of this branding is important. So if you were at, let's take a face-to-face networking event, and you had your own blog or your website with your name on it, I would use that on your business card, because I know when I receive a business card from someone at a networking event, one of the first things I do, I come back and I look at it, and I go to their personal website. And if I see something on that I like and I connect with, then I have possibly a better connection with that person. Maybe maybe he went to Florida State, and we've got that Seminole connection. Also, these people right now are using social media, and they really do respond favorably when you communicate back at the same time. Remember, this is just a tool. This isn't the end-all to end-all, because I think the sale is still offline, but your communication is moving online. People communicate when they want to. Everybody's email box is full, so how can you really gain their attention? That kind of becomes a way that you need to think about your marketing efforts. And the sad thing for me, especially as a marketing person, is that my customers, even my agents, were too busy to go to lunch with me and play golf, and I'm a golfer. And I do remember the days of going out and playing golf with my agents, building that relationship, and you all that do that love to do it. But I will tell you, your clients are almost too busy for that these days. So they're out there. A possible way to communicate with them is linking in a LinkedIn group with them. If they're on Twitter, if their business is on Twitter, get on Twitter, because I'll talk a little bit about how that can help you as we go on with this. But I don't know how many of you have seen this guy. He is like the king of branding, Gary Vaynerchuk. He wrote a book called Crush It, and I highly recommend it. It's a real quick read. He started something called the Wine Library. This guy is more known for selling information on the internet than he is at selling wine. He was one of the first people to realize that everyone needs to think of themselves as a brand. So this guy is a brand by his name in itself. Interesting book to read. So how would I think you should use social media? Well, personally, I think creating a blog is the best way to start with your process. It's very easy to do it. Your blog becomes your home base. This is your website. And you're going to feed other information into your LinkedIn account if you want to have Facebook and Twitter. But I do say if you've not started any type of a social media entree, start slow. You don't have to do it all at once. Get one thing kind of down. The one thing I like about a blog is that it really becomes an online business card for you. So you can add it to your agency business card. You can, this is where you're going to start to deposit information that you're an expert in your field. So what you're going to do is you're going to post articles on relevant subjects where people are searching for this information on the internet. It could be coverage related, risk management, safety. Down here, disaster preparation and mitigation. They're really big. And I'll give you a few other ideas. Builder's risk. Everybody's kind of confused about the soft cost. You could write a lot on builder's risk. What are the advantages of being an independent agent versus a direct writer? Write about your prime area of expertise, whether it be commercial lines, personal lines, benefits, or health. I mean, who understands health insurance these days? You could write about different exposures and policy solutions. If you've got a target marketing program, blogging is so perfect for you. You know, it might be nonprofits. You've got a lot of solutions there. It could be churches, moving and storage businesses. People go online. What happens is they go online and they search Google, moving and storage insurance. If you've written several articles along that topic, you could be found in those Google searches, and then all of a sudden you're perceived as an expert in your field. Plus, guess what? You've picked up clients outside of your general territory where you would normally market. You could write about replacement value versus market value, very significant right now going on in the residential market. What to do if they have a claim. Also, how about successful claim resolutions? Certificate of insurance requirements. They're always confusing for insureds. What about premium and cost containment? Comparison of group benefits. There's a guy up in New York I've met on my Twitter account, and he's really taken he's got his own website, and these are some of the article topics. He's been very creative, and he writes, I am not just another insurance agent. My insurance rates are always awesome. You can't believe everything you read about insurance. And one of my favorites, the co-insurance killer. The list is really endless. The point is, you guys are professionals with so much knowledge that seldom gets used in front of the client. A blog provides a perfect way that you can stand out from your competitors. And one thing I like about it is it actually puts a face on our industry, and we're a pretty faceless industry. People don't like insurance companies necessarily. We have a chance through article writing and blogging to really help the public perception of this, because blogging is also about engaging with people. You can also use your site to use video. We all like to introduce our lead CSR, who might be on your commercial account, but how about doing a little video introduction of that person? People, you know, we always say we want to put a face with a name. Using video is very powerful for this. You can also use video to showcase any testimonials from your clients. You can do it for success stories on reducing losses. And another thing, people want to know that you're a real person. So many of you do a lot of community service or have charity work. Put that on your blog. People want to see that you're interested in other people. And for example, this is me, it's a terrible picture, but I'm very passionate about Earth Day, and so I helped this school in Hialeah institute a recycling program for their school, and I put it on my website and I wrote an article about it. LinkedIn, many of you might have connected with me on LinkedIn, and I feel that this is the second point of your social media. If you're using it now, great. Continue to do it. One of your reasons is 50% of the people on your LinkedIn are decision makers. You just have to find them. So a lot of it is that you join groups that your prospects are in. So if your focus is property management, tons of groups out there. Join them. Construction, hospitality, restaurants, they're all out there. When you get in the group, your key is you need to add value by participating in their discussions. So you can see me when one of my target groups are insurance agents, because I want to bring the tools to social media marketing to insurance agents. I'm happy to help people with that. So what I want to do is I want to create the impression and let you know that I am a professional in your industry, and I sort of figured out how social media could be used. You were going to post your articles from your blog to that group. That is the beauty of the ability to use LinkedIn with your blog. What I also want to tell you is that I'm going to create another webinar that's just going to focus on using LinkedIn a little bit more targeted for your insurance prospecting. I use Twitter a lot. I happen to use Twitter and love it. There's a lot of key prospects that are out there, but if you're just starting out, don't sweat the Twitter thing. It might be way over what you are able to do right now. But the purpose of Twitter is not to sell, but it's to drive traffic back to your blog. So whenever I do an article on my blog, it automatically posts to my Twitter feed. I don't have my site is set up to do that automatically. I see a lot of insurance agencies out there on Twitter. I'm not really crazy about how they're using it. It's a lot of information at, you know. It's not really engaging with people, but it is more like an advertising effort out there. Where I find Twitter to be very useful is that if your clients, your current customers are on Twitter, and you're on Twitter, you connect with them because they're tweeting. The key there is that you retweet their tweets, which means that you're actually cross-promoting their business to your Twitter followers. In Twitter, we know everyone that retweets. So subliminally, they're seeing you as a partner, and Twitter is all about sharing. That's kind of where I'll just end up on Twitter today, because it can get a little overwhelming for you. So to some of the tasks, you know, if you were just starting this process about branding yourself, I really think creating your web presence, which would be your blog or website, would be your first thing you do. And you're going to maintain it by providing useful information to your prospects. From that point, you probably have a LinkedIn profile. You know, you might want to look at the LinkedIn profile and check out to see that, you know, what's it look like. The reason why LinkedIn doesn't really work for your online presence is that it just reads like a resume. You know, it doesn't really provide this really expertise information that's all about you and what you bring to the table. There's no real personality to LinkedIn. these other things that I've included on this slide, which happen to be things about search engine optimization and keyword research, you don't have to worry about that right now, but as you get better, those types of things are better. You might want to cross-promote on your blog with some of your clients. You might have a fan page. You might do the same thing. So it's all about sharing. Why isn't everybody branding? Why aren't you branding? So maybe you think it's going to take too much time and interfere with your current prospecting and your current clients. But let me ask you this. When I usually ask people, how do you get clients? 90% of you guys are going to say referrals. Well, that's great. Do you really have enough referrals to get you through the year? If so, that's great. So then, if you don't have enough referrals, then what would you normally do? You might go back to your quote not written file, which means those guys you quoted before and you didn't get their business, maybe you thought it was all because of price. So you're going to pull those guys out, call them up, see if you can quote them again, and probably the same thing's going to happen with you. Maybe this is another idea where you can reevaluate your marketing efforts, and maybe those accounts that you quoted last year, now when you reapproach that guy, send him to your website. Let him know a little bit more about you. Maybe in that time that you spent with him during the proposal section, when you were in front of him, he didn't really know about you. Maybe you can get him to take the time to interact on, just by going through your site. You may not be starting this process because you think it's going to be too technical for you. Or maybe it's not in your budget and it's just going to be too much. Or maybe you just think it's going to overwhelm you and you don't have enough time, okay? Well, I can understand that, and so what happens is that when you reach that point, you usually do nothing. And you sit back and you think, well, I really should be doing it, but how can I do it? So while you're not doing it, your competitors, I really do see this because I'm out on Twitter, I see people out there, I see people on LinkedIn, they are engaging. And when I go to somebody's LinkedIn profile, they've got their blog listed. So I know that people are doing this, and they're going to start taking business away from you, and you really don't want that to happen. So the important thing to do, I really think, is get started. Just make a commitment to get started in this process. And there's really, a couple of ways you can get started. And if you're kind of tech savvy yourself, I've seen people create their own blogs. You can go out there and try it. But from what I see in our industry is that, you don't have a lot of time. And time is your enemy, so to speak. So you could really use some help. So what I want to do is let me present something that I've found, which is called my branding system. I can personally attest to it. I started blogging about a year ago. I did not start my blog with my branding system. I had somebody do it for me. And I wasn't getting a lot of traffic to it. I didn't really know the process. What my branding system does is really creates a complete system for you. And this system will incorporate some training. And so we provide training for you on social media. If you don't know how to do Twitter, how to set up a LinkedIn profile, if you want to set up a Facebook fan page, if you want to talk about branding and your message, we've got that kind of training. And I'm also the company trainer once a week on Wednesday nights where I teach people how to input content on their blog, because it's really not too much different than a copy and paste. So if you can do a Word document, copy and paste it. And a lot of the insurance companies and journals out there create content for you that they will allow you to publish on your website. So you don't have to be generally thinking of topics all the time. You just need to make sure that the content that is on your site is approved, because you would never want to plagiarize. So one thing I do encourage anybody that's setting up a blog, do put your picture on it. It's really important because you don't want to be faceless. How many times, even in LinkedIn, do you see people that haven't uploaded their picture? That really irritates me because I do want to see what they look like. And you can see on my website, I actually had to be DebbieRussell.me. DebbieRussell.com is very common. So if you've got a common name like me, it's like you're never going to show up on this Google search unless you put some content out there. And I decided, I didn't know you could be a .me for a URL, but I figured it out that you could. You can be a .net also, but I thought .me was kind of clever. So these are just some examples. You can make it look more like a business, like this Mexican gourmet restaurant did. Realtors, as I said, really have taken to this. In our product, we've got a lot of realtors using it because they recognize their brand is much more important than RE/MAX. And I think all of you feel that you're bringing expertise to the insurance community, and it would be really nice to be recognized for that. And if you're also doing a blog and your agency has started a blog, how great would it be if your articles also got posted on your agency blog, and vice versa? So maybe it can take away part of the work for you. This is an example of one of our websites, and Dan Darrigan, one of the features that we also include is a peel page. And what that is if somebody clicks in the right corner there, it peels down and can link to their agency website. And I think that's a really nice feature. You might not get that with every blog or website. Certainly if you started your own blog, you wouldn't get that. We also provide integrated social media backgrounds, meaning we will design a background that matches your, this is his Twitter, this is his YouTube because he does do some videos, and also his Facebook. So when people connect with him, he's got one brand that's all connected. We also, in part of our package here, include something called an article submission service, where these things, if bought separately on the internet, you would be charged for separately. So we use Unique Article Wizard and WP Robot, and you can actually put in their topics that other people have written and get deposited in your posting categories back office, and you can post them to your site. The company also has created a special webcam technology, which I think is absolutely great. There's a couple of ways to do video, and you can use your flip camera, but when you do a flip video, what the process is that you have to download it to your computer, upload it to YouTube, get the embedded code, and put it back on your website. With our system, it's just a matter of a click of a button where you, if you have a computer with a webcam on it, sit in front of the computer, do a little video shoot, and it's just a matter of starting it, stopping it, looking at it back, putting a title on it, maybe a little description, publish it, it goes right to your site. One of our features that we're going to be adding in the next 30 days is the video email capability that comes with the system. I really think that this could be a game changer. Right now there's people out there that market that system separately and they charge for it. It's going to be part of our system with all one price, and I see exciting things that could be used as an insurance producer. You could meet somebody, send them a follow-up video email. You could talk about a coverage situation. You could say something about, thank you for renewing your policy with me. I really appreciate your business. You know, you could do so many things with these video emails. The other thing is that your cell phone is also more than likely a video camera. I can see people out in the field. What if you were driving along and saw a lost control hazard situation? For example, an overloaded truck that wasn't secure. What a great topic to write a video on, where you'd just immediately walk around and or if you saw a hazardous condition, you're really going to point out that you are concerned for clients, you're concerned and how that really might translate into reducing rates. If you're on a builder's risk job site, you might see some situations there that might be relevant. I just think there's a lot of uses for video that people haven't, you know, really fully taken advantage of yet. So, you know, you might be thinking, okay, so what would all of this cost? When I started looking around at the internet for what the price of a system like this might be, the going rate was about $8.99. We offer it for $4.98. Really, that's a one-time charge. And one of my agents, he was talking to me about, okay, what's the ROI on this? You know, what am I going to get for my money? Well, I kind of look at it like this. For $4.98, if you took one of your really good clients out at an expensive golf course and you had a foursome and you paid for golf and you paid for lunch, I'm thinking that bill could be right around $500. You've affected one client. For $498, you are potentially affecting a lot of prospects, creating an online reputation, getting a lot more value out of your marketing efforts. I also want to show just kind of a breakdown. We charge $39.95 a month on your second month. However, these prices you see under the value section, this is what you would pay if you bought this type of thing separately. For example, any type of support with our system is free. Typically, we teach you to do it yourself, but if you're stuck and you can't do it, just write to the support people. They get back to you immediately. You're not charged for it. We've got some back office tools for search engine optimization that really are awesome. And one thing that has nothing to do with your site is when you buy a site from us, you get something called MBS Retail Benefits. What that is a cashback shopping toolbar. I use it all the time. It has cash back up to 40% for about 4,000 stores, including all of your travel sites. So over a year's time, I literally have saved $1,400 in cashback shopping because I just have transferred all my shopping to it. So it's just another little benefit that you can use with this whole tool that you wouldn't even be thinking about. So I have my question to you. Are you ready to take your online presence to the next level and create your online business card? Because it's really, really simple. And what I'd like you to do is to connect with me. This is my website. Go out and check me out. I've got a lot of good information out there. While you're there, I want you to connect with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook, because every time I post an article, this system automatically uploads to Twitter, Facebook, and my LinkedIn, I do it manually because I'm in different kinds of groups. Also, here's my email address. If you're interested in having me work with you, drop me an email. I'd love to do it. And if you've got any questions, I'd be happy to answer it. I just think we've got a lot of potential in our industry. We're only just beginning, and I'd love to work with you and help you. So thank you for your time. I'm glad I was able to end a little early so you can get some things done today, and thank you for being with me today. Bye-bye.